Hi, this is Rajkumar. Today we are going to discuss about this particular topic, application of organometallic compounds in homogeneous catalysis. Let us come to the first section about the basic concepts and common terminologies. Now the first question comes in picture. What is catalysis? This is a process of enhancing the reaction rate by addition of a substrate called catalyst. Now we can see in this case, this particular overall reaction can be performed in presence of catalyst like this way. And the catalyst consumed on the first step gets regenerated at the last step. And if we compare the energy diagram, we can see in presence of catalyst, the activation energy barrier becomes significantly lower. Now, normal reaction and catalytic reaction can be distinguished by these kinds of figure. We can see the top one is a normal chemical reaction that moves slowly, whereas the bottom one, which moves very fast, that occurs in presence of catalyst. Now we come to the common parameters. Activity, which is nothing but given by this particular equation. Then conversion, which is given by this particular equation. Yield, which is given by this particular equation. Turnover number. So this is nothing but moles of desired product divided by moles of catalyst. Turnover frequency, which is nothing but the turnover number divided by time. Selectivity. This can be described by this particular equation. Number of moles of the desired product divided by total number of moles of the overall product. Now let us classify the selectivity. Now selectivity can be classified in these three categories: chemoselectivity, regioselectivity and stereoselectivity. Now chemoselectivity means it's a choice between defined functional groups, while regioselectivity deals with choice between defined positions, whereas stereoselectivity deals with the choice between defined orientation. Now chemoselectivity. It refers to if the reaction preferentially occurs with one particular functional group in presence of others. So if we can see with this example, if we use sodium borohydride, it preferentially only reduces this aldehyde group without touching this ester group. So it's chemoselective. While lithium aluminum hydride reduces the both functional groups. So it's a non-chemoselective reagent. Regioselectivity. So in this case, if there is an unsymmetrical functional group, reaction will occur preferentially at one position over others. We can see this example. In this one alpha beta unsaturated carbonyl compound, if we use organolithium, it reacts from this particular position to give rise to 1,2 addition product. Whereas organocopper leads to formation of 1,4 addition product. Similarly, in this alkene, if we use only HBr, it will undergo addition in a Markovnikov fashion to give rise to this particular product. But in presence of hydrogen peroxide, it will undergo addition in an anti-Markovnikov fashion to give rise to this product. Now stereoselectivity. So if there is a pro-stereogenic substrate, the reaction will occur preferentially from one particular direction over others to produce one particular stereoisomer preferentially over others. For example, if we look at this particular case, in case of 80 mix alpha, it gives rise to this particular isomer, whereas in case of 80 mix beta, it gives rise to selectively the opposite isomer. So these are enantioselective reaction. Now, in this particular olefin, if we do Provost reaction, it will give rise to antidiol, whereas in case of Woodward Provost reaction, it will give rise to syndiol. So these are diastereoselectivity reaction. Now, there is always a confusion between stereospecificity and stereoselectivity. Lot of people actually made mistake in this particular term. So, it's actually defined as if a defined stereoisomer either react at a defined rate or gives rise to defined type of stereoisomers as product. So, we can see by this particular example, this cis olefin upon addition of bromine, it gives rise to RS mixture, whereas the trans olefin gives rise to meso product. So, Stereospecificity is the choice between reactant, whereas stereoselectivity is the choice between product. Now let us compare homogeneous and heterogeneous catalyst. Homogeneous catalyst happens in a single phase, whereas heterogeneous catalyst occurs in multiple phase. Compared to heterogeneous catalyst, homogeneous catalyst needs much lower temperature. Homogeneous catalysts are much more active compared to heterogeneous catalysts. Also, they are much more selective. But heterogeneous catalysts are much easier to recycle, as well as the product separation is much easier. In homogeneous catalysts, the reaction mechanism is more or less understood. But in case of heterogeneous catalysts, the mechanism is very poorly understood. As a result, in case of homogeneous catalysts, the reactivity fine tuning is much more easier. But they are much more sensitive towards deactivation of catalyst compared to heterogeneous catalyst. Let us come to the next section about catalytic hydrogenation, and we will discuss only about this Wilkinson catalyst. Now, there are two types of catalytic cycles available. Let us come to the first one. This particular complex undergoes dissociation of one phosphine ligand to give rise to this active catalyst, which undergoes oxidative addition of hydrogen to give rise to this compound. Now, that undergoes alkene coordination to give rise to this particular complex. Then, upon alkene coordination, this alkene becomes electron deficient and much more reactive towards nucleophilic atom. So, it undergoes 1,2 migratory insertion of this hydride to give rise to this particular compound. Now, which undergoes reductive elimination of the product to regenerate the active catalyst. And in the second case, instead of ligand dissociation, in the first step itself there is oxidative addition of hydrogen, followed by ligand dissociation. Then it undergoes alkene coordination, followed by 1,2 migratory insertion. Then it undergoes reactive elimination. And at the last step, it undergoes phosphine coordination to regenerate back the catalyst. Now, if we look at the general traits, trimer alkynes are more reactive than trimer alkenes because alkynes can bind much more strongly than alkenes. Conjugated dienes are less reactive than non-conjugated one because upon hydrogenation they will lose conjugation. Trimer alkenes and alkynes react faster compared to the balanced one because trimer alkene and alkyne they bind strongly compared to the balanced ones. Similarly, alkenes and alkynes having polar substrate, they react faster. And if we look at the reactivity order, the reactivity order is like this. Now, let us come to the enantiomer hydrogenation. That can be done if we use a enantiomer phosphine ligand. And one of the most popular reaction is Neura's Bynap reaction. Now, that uses this type of chiral phosphine ligands. Now, we can see this particular thing in place of R-Bynap gives rise to this particular product, which can be converted to levofloxacin, which is one of the popular antibiotic. And this reaction became so popular that later Noyer awarded Nobel Prize in Chemistry in 2001. These are the several other chiral molecules which have been synthesized by enantiomer selective hydrogenation reaction. Now we move towards the next section about hydroformylation reaction, and which is also known as OXO process. The reaction can be written like this. But the first question comes, why the catalyst is necessary? Because there is a chance of competitive reaction. Because hydrogenation is more thermodynamically than hydroformylation. If we compare the free energy change, we can see hydrogenation gives more negative free energy change. So, in order to preferentially drive hydroformylation, the catalyst is very necessary. As well as there is a problem with regioselectivity. So, it can form both primary and secondary aldehyde via anti-Markovnikov and Markovnikov type of reaction respectively. So, these are the common type of catalyst. Among that, I am going to discuss the catalytic cycle of this first and third one. Let us come to the catalytic cycle for this catalyst. Now, this dimeric catalyst undergoes oxidative addition of hydrogen to give rise to this monomeric complex, which undergoes dissociation of one carbon monoxide ligand to generate this active catalyst. Now, that undergoes alkene coordination to give rise to this complex. Then, again this alkene undergoes 1,2 migratory insertion of this hydride to give rise to this complex. Then it undergoes carboxyl coordination followed by 1,1 migratory insertion. Then it undergoes oxidative addition of hydrogen, and at the final step it undergoes reactive elimination of this product to regenerate back the active catalyst. And let us come to the rhodium catalyst. Now this rhodium catalyst undergoes phosphine ligand recomposition to give rise to this active catalyst. Now it again undergoes alkene coordination followed by 1,2 migratory insertion, carboxyl coordination, 1,1 migratory insertion, followed by oxidative addition of hydrogen and reductive elimination of the product to complete the cycle. Now let us come to the reduced selectivity. It's actually more selective towards the anti-marking of product. But why? Let us consider the key step which determines the reduced selectivity. Now, so this is a structural intermediate for anti-marking of product, while this one is the structural intermediate for marking of product. And we can clearly see in this particular product, this R group is having steric interactions with this particular substituents. As a result, this particular intermediate is very unstable. Now, we can improve the reduced selectivity by increasing the steric bulkiness of these phosphine ligands. That can be verified. We compare the reduced selectivity of all these different catalysts, and we can see as we move from top to bottom, there is a steady increase in the steric effect of these phosphine ligands. As a result, the reduced selectivity is also increasing. Now we come to the next section about Monson acetic acid process. So this is the scheme. Now in this particular reaction, a minute quantity of HI is required to initiate the reaction. Now why? Now let us consider the catalytic cycle. This particular compound undergoes the oxidative addition of methyl iodide, which is formed by reaction of methanol and HI to give rise to this particular complex. Now that undergoes 1,1 migratory insertion followed by carboxyl coordination. Then it undergoes reductive elimination of this acid iodide. Now this acid iodide gets hydrolyzed by the water formed in this particular step to give, generate acetic acid and regenerate the HI, which is required to react with methanol. Now what is the role of HI here? Because due to strong nature of the carbon-oxygen bond, methanol cannot undergo oxidative addition easily. So HI converts methanol to methyl iodide. Now due to weakness of CI bond, now this methyl iodide can undergo facile oxidative addition. Now let us consider the catalytic cycle. This catalytic cycle can be described like this way. This complex undergoes alkene coordination to give rise to this particular complex. Now this alkene becomes most susceptible towards nucleic attack. Now it undergoes nucleic attack of water to give rise to this complex. That undergoes beta hydride elevation to give rise to this complex. Now this complex undergoes ligand dissociation, and whatever this dissociated enol tautomerializes to its keto form. And upon ligand dissociation, this particular complex is formed. Now which undergoes reactive elimination to give rise to this pyridium 0. Now this pyridium 0 can be reoxidized to pyridium 2 by oxidizing it to by copper 2, and this copper 1 again undergoes oxidation by oxygen to generate this copper 2. Now we come to the next section about APAS alkene cyclotrimerization process. This can be written like this. So this is basically a metal catalyst 2 plus 2 plus 2 cycle addition of alkynes to form benzene derivatives. This is a very important reaction because it's having a very high atomic number. And these are the common catalysts which are used. Now let us see the mechanistic pathways possible for metal cyclopentadiene formation. The first pathway involves alkyne coordination followed by oxidative cycle addition. Whereas the second pathway first involves oxidative addition to give rise to these kinds of metal cycle, and later it undergoes 1,2 migrating insertion to give rise to again the same product. This particular complex undergoes 4 plus 2 cycle addition reaction to form this kind of Norbornine type of derivative, which isomerizes to form this particular complex, and that undergoes ligand dissociation to give rise to the benzene derivative. Whereas this can also undergo 1,2 migrating insertion to form this kind of 7-membered ring, and which later undergoes reductive elevation to form this particular product. Finally, thank you very much for your kind attention.